Hello, hello, beautiful, blessed people. How are you? Bonjour, bonsoir, Kijon. Hope all is well. If not, sending so much love your way. It's Christine, your Zen Wellness Mama here, and I will be hopefully joined shortly by Carolyn with Acknowledge Wellness, and we will be going live today. With a little bit of tea and taro. So if you have some tea or some water or even your breath, just go ahead and grab that, and we will be going through a meditation, and hopefully she is coming on. Let me see if I can reach out to her. But how are you all today? We are in the full moon in Leo energy. How is it feeling for y'all? I know for me, there's been some revelations, some insights, and a lot of downloads. So, what's been going on? What's been coming up for y'all, with y'all? Still waiting on Carolyn. Oh, I'm back. I saw that she is running a little bit behind, and I think I'm still live. So we're just going to wait for her while she gets on. But yeah, full moon in Leo. What is going on? How are y'all feeling? Whew, I know it's a lot of stuff this week leading up to this week. Hi, I see you. Leading up to this week, and I'm sure a lot is being revealed for us. Let's see if I can invite you again. Hopefully you can come up. She got caught up in a good conversation. I'll join in 5 minutes. I forgot to grab something. No problem. Good conversations are happening. I know my husband said the same thing. Hey, Turquoise Majesty, joining in with us. Oh, sending you so much love, sis. Sending you so much love. But yeah, my husband was like, he's been having some deep conversations lately too with his people, and I know I have, and the collective has been feeling. Yes, take some time, get some tea, y'all. No rush. Yo, we flowing in. We flowing in. We're doing the vibes. I didn't even have time to shuffle, so this gives me time to shuffle my deck. So yeah, just the full moon. So we know full moons are the sun and the moon are opposing each other, right? So they're opposing each other. So we have the sun in Aquarius, which is all about being free and authentically you, and just like using all of your knowledge to really be affirmed in your authority. And we know Leo is about being the center of the stage, shining bright, joy, love, I guess love from the heart space, right? Because Leo really speaks to the heart. So expressing that heartfelt love. I think you look so pretty in your wine hues. Yes, my wine hues. Oh, that is wine hues. I'm channeling some energy, some purple energy. So I love the wine hues. Thank you, sis. So yeah, like that joy, Leo, and I know Carolyn is a Leo moon, and so is my daughter. So I'm really interested to hear what reflections or what things come up for her during this Leo moon. And it's always great to connect with Carolyn because she's a reflector. I feel like I have a special little insight on what's coming and what's being downloaded, because reflectors are really invited to wait a lunar cycle, because that's when all of the things get kind of illuminated, or like new thinking. So I feel so blessed to talk to Carolyn and have this tea and tarot moment. I have my tea, and I thought I had the bag, but I don't. But it's a Haitian American. I forgot her name, but she's like so good, and she makes these beautiful tea. So I have her Inner Vision tea, and it's got a whole bunch of like really, really, really good things in. So that's what I have with me. Hey, Lotus Soul Chick, I see you. DMV coming through. DMV coming through. So yeah, everybody's just getting ready, grabbing the tea. We're going to dive into a tea meditation. We were just talking a little bit about the full moon. And so the full moon is also happening at 16 degrees. So look in your chart to see where you have any planets that are around 16 degrees. And the way that you can check that out, hey, Dana, the way that you can check that out is by looking at your natal chart, and where the planets fall, there's like a little number. Like my favorite place to pull from is astro.com. So you can go to astro.com, put in your birth information, and you'll look at your natal chart, and there should be like a little tiny number next to the planet, and that's going to tell you that the degree the planet is in. And so look to anything that is happening in 16 degrees, and that this full moon is kind of like illuminating that planet or that degree for you. Okay, I see a request coming in. Hey, I think I accepted. Did I accept you, girl? No, I didn't. Hold on. Oh, are you coming through? Hey.
I know.
See me trying to spell here. You know I can talk.
I was getting distracted. I was like, oh, I have to hop on the live. And then I was running behind. I was like, I think it's the story of both of our lives.
You already know. Story of both of our lives. That's why I'm like, we're flowing with everything with these. I'm surprised I show up on time, y'all. Okay, because I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on. There's just so much. Like I was talking about, looking to see if any planets are 16 degrees in your chart. And for me, I looked at my natal chart and Jupiter, my planet Jupiter, which is in Taurus, which actually I'm going to be having my Jupiter return because Jupiter is going to be entering into Taurus soon. So I'm super excited about that because we know Jupiter usually leaves a gift. But my Jupiter is at 16 degrees in Taurus. And so, like we said, the full moon is illuminating whatever planets or angles that you have at 16 degrees. And we know Jupiter is all about spirituality and expansion. And Jupiter is in my 9th house, which is also talking about like astrology, the esoterics, higher learning, and all of those things. So all of those energies are for sure being illuminated for me at this time, as you know. Because we've little talked about this. So, so that's just a little snippet, but welcome everybody who's here now, who will come in later. We are doing tea and tarot. So I hope you had time to grab your tea. If you don't, all good. You could just get some water or use your breath. That is always fine. But our intention here today is to talk about the full moon in Leo with my Leo moon friend over here, and also talk about some of the things that have been illuminated for us. We have the different seasons that are happening, which is in bulk, which we will talk about, and we found some really interesting things. I know Maman Brigitte had her day, and I know
there's many different ways. I think you can say Bridget or Bridge. But there's literally so many names based on like old Irish, like modern day Irish, and even like how things have enveloped through different languages too. So similar.
Cool. So same with Maman Brigitte, there's Grand Brigitte, there's like so many different names associated with it. So I'm Haitian American and Carolyn is Irish American. Is that what you had? Okay, Irish American. And so we were both like, these energies, Brigitte's energies is just flowing during this time. And we were like, yo, like, this ain't a coincidence. And there's just so many interconnectives with our stories. And so we thought it would be a great time to show up under this full moon in Leo energy and take center stage and kind of talk about some of those things that are flowing to us or being illuminated at this time. And knowing that we're crossing the seas from Haiti to Ireland and just reading and studying, using our Gemini brains on getting curious on all of the things, we thought it was a great time to just talk about it. So that's the intention. So we'll flow right into the meditation, and I'll let you take it away.
It's all very exciting. And I was going to say thank you for the people that are joining us today as well. I think too with the tea meditation, because we are using whatever tea or water, and Bridget, one of her like aspects as a triple goddess in Ireland is also like relating to like healing waters as well, or like her healing properties. And so that's what we can focus on for today's meditation, is allowing the water in the tea to be able to help us with navigating our internal waters too. So all the things today.
Having the waters help us navigate the internal waters within. Oh, I love that. And we think about, Aquarius season, as we're leaving out Aquarius season, the waters of the higher mind, right? And that water bearer, Aquarius being the water bearer. So
like
I love that we're doing
all the interweavings of it all. I was going to say, so for those who are joining us, if you have tea or water, you can bring your cup in front of you to gaze at it. If you don't have any water at all, you can visualize in your mind's eye holding a cup of tea, holding a cup of water in front of you. And as you're looking at your tea and your water, you can thank the water and the tea for being with you in this moment. And as you thank the water and the tea, you can also bring your attention to your breath and how that flows in your body. And as you're gazing upon these waters and focusing on your breath, you can bring attention to your own internal waters and what those look like in these moments. And if it's easier to think of a word or a couple of words or an image, you can also do that as well. And in honoring your internal waters, your breath and the tea, I invite you to take a sip and just notice how it tastes in your mouth and as it travels to your stomach. And just noticing if the tea or the water tastes different than it might have had before. And just honoring this process and knowing that you can come back to it at any time. And gazing at the water and gazing at the tea, connecting to your breath and reflecting on your own internal waters. And when you're ready, you can bring your attention back into the room that you're in, the space that you're in, and the space that we're in now online. Yeah.
We gotta get back down.
Yeah.
Ground back down to earth. Oh, that was beautiful. I loved every time you said reflect on your inner waters. I just smiled. I just had a smile. It just made me feel good. And when I was looking at my tea, um, some of the remnants of the tea, of the loose tea, really fell down and it formed a letter C. And my name's Christine, so C is obviously the first letter of my name. And it kind of looked like it had a little crown on top, which is so beautiful, which I felt like, that triple goddess energy that we talk, like really like, just crowning the inner waters that are within me, because it was really at the depth of the cup. So like on the bottom of the cup. So those inner waters. It's beautiful, reflecting on the inner waters inside. That was a beautiful meditation. What came up for you?
I was like, wow, I think because the way the light was and how it was like shimmering on the water, I was like, oh, this is really fascinating. The way that the tea that I have in my cup and how it was like glistening or glimmering from the water itself. And it's like, oh, this is a different experience than what we've done before. So it's always nice to see how within each like moment of like bringing your attention to like tea or water, every time it's so different.
So different. I've loved doing the first time. The reason even this came about is because I attended Carolyn's tea and drumming ceremony with Linda. And it was so beautiful. Oh my goodness, I've never experienced anything like it. The transformative journey that I could go on from just being mindful and being still and in the moment, connecting with each and every element of the tea, feeling the journey that the tea went on to journey from, the farm or wherever it came from to down to the pits of my stomach. It was just such a beautiful experience. And oh my gosh, my candle. It was just like amazing. And I was like, this needs to be, we need to do something like this. And that's how it came about, just this tea and tarot. And it's just been such a beautiful experience. Connecting with tea in that way has been such a beautiful experience. And even as I was looking back down from when I first took my sip to when I reflected after, I've really felt like the colors changed. So just it's just like you said, every single time is really, really
wow.
different.
What were the colors before and after?
It was just light before. It was just like a light color, and then after I sipped, it was just like a deep, like dark, like that's just the depth. Because my quote or my motto for the year is "Shining star full of depth." And after this, like I just felt the depth in that cup, and so that's the essence I was feeling. What do you think you're shimmering?
It's funny because I kind of forgot of like the reflection piece when you were bringing that up. And then,
you are a reflector.
And then,
perfect segue. What did you feel about the shimmering, and what are some of your reflections that are coming up during this full moon, Miss Leo moon?
It was kind of just reflecting like how water shifts and changes form. And it's really one of the only elements that, whether we want to or not, like it can't be fully controlled. And so it sometimes creates this mystery and allure. And at the same time, like it's like almost allowing the water to teach you everything too, of like we can control it in like temperature or like making a bath or other things. But even like yesterday when I went to Picnic Point, it was so windy that the waves were actually pretty high, and the stream that was flowing into the water was actually going back up the stream. And I've never seen that before. And
I've never
Yeah.
seen that
And
before. We go to this beach a lot.
Karen was with me, and it was so amazing because it was just like looking at how like the waters were coming and like blowing and shifting, and even like the birds that were flying, they couldn't really fly fully. Like they're just like, well, this is what it is, and we're just gonna have to navigate. And it was almost just like this like allure and like
Wow.
understanding that like we can love water and understand it, and at the same time it can also, it can't be controlled, and that's like the beauty of it. As well as life, it can't fully be controlled either, even though we want to. So I felt like that was kind of what was reflecting of me, is that like,
Yeah. We
yeah,
just
you
gotta
just
ride
gotta
the
ride the
waves.
waves.
Let the waves take us.
Yeah,
The harder we fight, oh,
yeah.
the harder the fight it's gonna be.
It's so true. And even like what you were saying with this full moon, I think because my moon is in Leo, I feel like there's just been so many different emotions that have been coming up, a lot of it in relationship to grief. And so it's what?
What's free?
Oh,
What's
grief.
free?
Yeah. And
Oh,
it was
grief. Grief.
interesting too because of the parallels of like Imbolc, and like even today is Lichun, which is the first day of spring in the Chinese calendar, or like their lunar solar calendar. And then also looking at Bridget, and she was also like one of the first keeners in Ireland to like um, express grief when her sons have passed, and how like she would like let out shrieks and like wails in expression of grief. And it's just like this reminder that grief is so important, um, which was really beautiful because it
Yes.
was like a really strong tradition in Irish death rituals. But then it's interesting looking at that parallel of what you've shared with me of Maman Brigitte and the cemetery and death, and like those things, kind of looking at, because there's so many aspects to her that, and there's so many stories that I feel like I could study the rest of my life about her and what she represents. But that was something I feel like that came up a lot, as well as like because Leo rules the heart, that is like expressing your full emotion and understanding that like grief is an expression of like the lungs in Chinese medicine, but it also is really in relationship to your heart, because there's that relationship too. But that grief is necessary to be able to move forward, and that it can be scary, but at the same time, when we allow ourselves to grieve, there's also so much compassion and like very deep love that is there because you've allowed this expression to come through. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I so feel that. Like, just even thinking about grief and, the parallels of Mama Brigitte and Bridget, and just dealing with grief. And I just thinking about, again, just like the sun in Aquarius right now and the Leo moon, it's just like really expressing that grief authentically. Like, did you say keening? Keening, it's just keening. Is that something, a way that you would deal with grief
No.
in this normal society? Hell no, it's not. Like they don't want you to grieve like that. They don't want you to wail like that, and just like thinking of Mama Brigitte and just like her sensuality and just the way that she just like goes about things unapologetically, like that's not what they want you to feel, right? So grief is such an unique individual process that we have to go through, and I just think that's beautiful. I really didn't see, and I see the parallels now with that, but just this energy of the full moon and just knowing that we're in this time, it's asking like that inner grief within our heart to take center stage. And how do we grieve? How do we work through grief? What phase of grief are we in? Because I feel like grieving is never ending, right? It's a never ending cycle. So you, like, what is it? The couple of stages of grief, like you go through different stages of grief. And I know with me, oh my gosh, I'm just now connecting things, is the grief that I'm experiencing is such a beautiful, 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 beautiful grief of what can happen. Like the joy that can happen from grief. I know for me, particularly, my father had passed, and I've been seeing when I was very young, when I was 16, and that's been a lifelong journey of grieving, and just seeing now how the grief and what I felt has manifested and is birthing something, something so beautiful, and our relationship is just, coming into like this beautiful new union. Is just really, really beautiful to see. And that's kind of like and it's joyful, it's happiness, like you don't necessarily associate grief with joy and happiness. And that's kind of, the characteristics of Leo. But when you think about that and you think about connecting with your heart and grief, it's all intertwined. It may not be at a certain stage of where you are right now, but knowing that, you could be at two places, at like that duality of, grief is just really beautiful to look at. And just thinking of the stories, like the interweaving of the Irish and the Haitian culture, like that's grief. That's a lot of grief that was kind of in the waters, traveling between seas. So that's really interesting
it's so
too.
true. And like the thing that you brought up as well is it's like there's almost like, because like the way that almost like the white dominant culture has like kind of permeated through Western culture, but also throughout the world, it's in so many ways we've also lost our rituals around grief, and how like they've been so a part of our lives, in sense of like joy is just so much a part of grief as grief is just so much a part of joy. And I know too, like even
absolutely.
no, it's
And
okay.
that's why sorry to cut you off. That's why I love learning, and the more I dive deeper into Haitian voodoo and ancestor veneration and working with my ancestors, is that part. It's just the joy that comes from connecting with those on the other side. Is you don't see that. Like they tell you, the way I was raised is somebody dies, they go to heaven, and that's it. They may come down as an angel, they may not, but that's all you get. But I've always felt like this deeper connection, and studying these practices, going back to our sacred rituals, they knew, they understood that. And just the way that, like you said, the white culture and, our society has really tried their damnedest and their hardest to rip us apart from that. It's just like, that's being illuminated right now, okay? And going back to our
no, it
authenticity.
is,
But
because like as you were talking about joy too, it was reminding me as well of like, even there would be like, even in funerals or like any kind of like death ritual, there would be people who would actually be paid to like be the almost like professional, kind of like death doulas, but they were kind of prepared, like were hired to almost like help people come together and grieve, apart from just like the singing keeners. But a lot of it was to like have like games or to keep people awake. But there was also a lot of things in relationship to like, in order for people to cry because and to be vulnerable, they were also helping people, like giving them laughter, like making people laugh to like welcome them into the space of crying, because sometimes like laughter can also like relate to our joy of like, oh, this is why this person was important to us, and then they could like allow themselves to cry. And so I felt like that was so important when I was reading and like listening to different podcasts about those things, because it's like, yeah, that duality between both, and then like it brings together like what might have been separated before together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just think about, Maman Brigitte is under the Gede Nation, and the Gede Nation are the ancestors and ruling the cemeteries. And I didn't get a chance to go to Fet Gede, but Fet Gede is just like a celebration of the souls, like All Souls Days. It's around that time. And I know that's also around the time that Brigitte is honored too. But when I was hearing people that went to Fet Gede, it was like a celebration, like, it's like a part, like, and that's what Fet Gede, you think of like New Orleans, all of that. It's just like a celebration of life, celebration of the transition too. So just the connectiveness is just really beautiful to see.
It definitely is. And like, it also feels so grounding as we've been talking about it too, because it's reminding me too of a conversation I had actually yesterday with someone, and we were talking about how grief work is actually very much liberatory work of like as we express and share our grief, and like alongside that joy, it is this celebration of life, because you're experiencing these dualities, and it doesn't have to be like either or, it can be and, like even what you're saying about about the celebrations too, and that it's just holding both together.
Holding both together. Really interesting. So I will go ahead and pull some cards. I have a couple of decks here today. This deck, per usual, right? This deck is my I forgot what this is called. This is the Everyday Witch Oracle deck. And this Everyday Witch Oracle deck gives me like Celtic vibes. So I thought that this would be cool to pull. And the first card that came out was Cleansing the Body and Spirit. Cleansing the Body and Spirit. And I think this is a beautiful card. As you can see, she's taking a bath. And I think this just speaks to how important spiritual baths are. And not even maybe spiritual baths, but just like being in a bath and how cleansing water can be. How cleansing water can be, and how it can be a portal, also if you're like dealing with grief. I know for me, many a times, like being in the water is when I finally feel okay to release and to cry. So how, water can really be just a place to heal and to cleanse the mind, body, and spirit. So what comes up for you when you see this
feels
card?
Really powerful. It almost like the hat is being like taken off. It almost feels like there's like a load that's being taken off from just being in the water and allowing it to move through you. Yeah. A powerful card.
Powerful card. And it's just like, I don't know, when I see that hat, I kind of think of like that, connection to the divine, right? It's like protecting your head, protecting, that connection, but she has it off, and she's really still able to connect through water. So just knowing just the different ways that we can connect. It doesn't necessarily have to be performance or when, wearing a certain thing or out there and about. It's like we're always connecting with the divine. So knowing the different ways that you can connect and making sure that you're clean enough to connect as well, because if you have all of that, we collect so much energetic debris that a lot of us may not even realize. And under this full moon, it's a great time. Full moons are a great time to do spiritual baths because why? We are releasing a lot of emotions are coming up and we need to clean that shit off. Okay. We need to clean that shit off so we're ready to really see clearly to act. So when the new moon comes around, we see clearly and we don't have all this other energetic debris to create true manifestations that are really true to our heart.
And what was that? Turquoise Majesty was saying that in Wolk. Yeah, it does mean in the belly. Being in a bath is like being in the belly, the mother's amniotic fluid. It makes a lot of sense.
Wow, that's beautiful, Turquoise Majesty. being in a bath is like being in the belly of the mother's amniotic fluid. And how healing is that? Like water helps us grow too, right? Like you think of like, whew, just like carrying a child and all that fluid, just knowing that they're growing and all of the little different cells that are being activated and growing, and kind of like us releasing and finally feeling like we can just go into that space, that water space of our safety, of our mother's womb in the belly to grow, maybe to transform, to come out when we arise out of the bath, to see things differently, to have a different perspective. So that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful observation as well. Yeah, if you see these cards, like let us know what's coming up for you. We are co-collaborating together. And at the bottom of the deck was the affirmation of acceptance. So really it's kind of like accepting and fate. She's reading fate right now, right? And you see all of these different birds around her, and you see this whirlwind of storms. So we are in a whirlwind of storms right now. Whether you are rising above it, whether you are in the middle, whether you are out around, wherever you are on your journey. Affirmation of acceptance. Accept. Know that you can go to the water, to take off your hat, to take off your armor, to just go into that belly. Go into that belly of acceptance and just like really allowing at this time. So what are you getting when you see that?
I like how there's dice and crows and
yeah.
a tornado.
It's the number 7. Yeah, it's the number 7, and we're in a 7
it is
year,
interesting.
which is interesting.
I feel like it's also just like someone being able to like sit through the storm, because she seems calm, or they seem calm as they're allowing all of these things to go around them. And even within that, that's also very powerful, of just like honoring the storm and honoring and accepting what that is. And
so guess what's below that, what was
still
underneath
waters.
that card?
Going with the flow.
Going with the flow. Going with the flow. That's what it says. Going with the flow. Accepting the fate and going with the flow. She's at peace here. She's riding the current. She's going with the flow, feeling the waters. Her hands are in the waters, really going with the flow, not fighting the current and fighting the waters, accepting it.
Yeah. Also, Christine too, I was going to say, towards that, just so sad too, that my great-grandmother's birthday is February 1st, so it's definitely significant to my divine feminine lineage. That's really beautiful.
That's powerful. And she said her great-grandmother. Honor to your great-grandmother. Yeah. That really powerful feminine energy. And didn't you say Bridget embodies the 3 goddesses?
So a lot of times within, what did you, like the Irish pantheon, there's like within each aspect of the goddess, there's 3 aspects. So, but then there's also this fluidity within it all. So she's the goddess of like poetry, healing, and smithcraft. But I've been listening to different things in relationship to them, and how like smithcraft like today can also be just like engineering and innovation. Like it doesn't have to just be like working with metal or wood. It can just be innovation and how you want to engineer anything. And healing for Brigitte also was in relation to like many different things, but it was also like healing the waters, the sacred fire, and midwifery.
Yeah, I heard
she was also, according to like some sources, she was one of the first people to help perform abortions in Ireland.
Oh wow!
And so there's a lot of different things in terms, and like she's also very much more aligned with like social justice, of like helping take care of marginalized people, like housing them, and like she also would work with lawyers and would like mediate between things. And
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
Maman Brigitte also deals with
See
law
all the,
as
all
well.
the connections.
And yeah, for sure. And she honors the children as well. Let me see some notes that I have. Um, yeah, so many different connections. Lady of the Cemetery. She's very fertility, love, money, knowledge, wisdom, healing, that deep healing energy. So yeah, very, very similar. Very, very, very similar. Very similar. So the affirmation that I pulled is the under this energy is the last quarter moon in Taurus. Be proud to be yourself. Be proud to be yourself. And I think both of those energies, right? Both that Bridget and Maman Brigitte energy is all about being authentically you. Yes, Oya is also Oya's day is the same day as Maman Brigitte. So just knowing, and I know Mama Brigitte.
Oh,
yeah, my husband was calling. Sorry.
Yeah.
Babe, hey, Mama Charmaine. But both of those energies, you know, and it's in some, I don't know, some associations are also like Kali. Her energy is giving Kali. Her energy is giving Oya. Her energy is giving Brigitte. There was one more deity that I know that I can't remember that was associated with it, but all of those speak to being proud of being yourself, like authentically you. All of those energies don't conform, right, to what it's like, that divine feminine, that wild energy just like coming out and being authentically you, being proud to be yourself and not giving an F. And that's kind of what all of those energies kind of speak to me and say. What comes to you when you see this?
Yeah, it's almost like as we've been talking about the waters, it almost feels like the is it the quarter moon in Taurus? Or the last
Yeah,
quarter moon.
the last
It's
quarter,
almost
yes.
like harnessing that water for yourself and knowing that
Yes.
like these are this is what represents me. Oh yeah, definitely Leo energy, right? Um, of like
Definitely Leo
using that
energy, right?
for
No,
to
great
represent
point.
yourself and knowing that like these waters are here and like sometimes like they might seem like they're out of control, but I can also direct them and that represents me too.
Yo, look what is on the bottom of the deck. They may seem like they're out of control. We thinking about those water within us, those crazy waters. When we think about crazy waters, what's happening when crazy waters? Insecurities might bubble up. Insecurities might fill up. And the first quarter moon in Cancer is saying push through those securities. Push through and navigate and go with the flow. Go with the flow. Push through the insecurities. Don't push through the waters. Go with the flow with the waters. Don't push out the insecurities. Let those aside. Set that hat to the side. Because we think about, you know, air, thoughts, things coming through our head. Put that aside and just flow with the water. Cleanse yourself. Be in that bath and push through. That's what the first quarter moon in Cancer is saying. Like, really go to the center of your heart. Feel that grief, you know? Be proud of the grief that you're feeling. Flow with those, sit with
And
those.
roar if you need to.
And roar if you need to, keen if you need to, scream if you need
Yeah.
to, dance if you need to, you know? All of that. Be like, let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Roar. Exactly. Roar if you need to. Ugh.
Yeah.
What's coming up for
That
you when you see this?
also it feels like under the illumination of the moon, but also just yeah. Again, it's like it feels like each card is like showing all of the fluidity of water, and just knowing that like it is all a part of
Yeah.
you, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It's it's all part of you. It's all part of you. It's all part of you. Okay, I have a couple of more. Just my last deck. We'll see what Spirit has to say for us, or any advice or energies that they want to bring to us during this time. And I don't usually, the special occasion when this deck makes an appearance, it's my Ghetto Tarot deck, and it's a Haitian tarot deck. This photographer went to Hades, and she went to Haiti, and she went to the ghettos of Haiti, and really captured. She was a photographer, and she really captured and did a journey through the traditional Rider-Waite's tarot deck, and did a journey just picturing different things and different images in Haiti. Like, look at the Queen of Pentacles. I love this energy. Thank you, Spirit, for showing me this, because this is the energy that I like to embody. So the Queen of Pentacles is here, but she just went to different places and showed the beauty that is in Haiti, and just representing it through the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck. So just going to pull from this deck and see what energies we have under this full moon in Leo energy. Okay, what came out? Let's see. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Okay, so the first card that came out, and we're talking about push through, and this came out for me earlier too. It's wild. Push through insecurities. Push through insecurities. We have the nine of knives here, 9 of machetes in this deck, and the 9 of machetes, 9 of knives, 9 of swords is all about anxiety. All about anxiety, different things. Again, we're under this full moon energies. Things may be bubbling up, emotions may be bubbling up within us. I know this is the halfway point between the Taurus and the Scorpio eclipse season. So while we're in this cycle, we're in the halfway point. So we're at the peak in order to really get the revelations of what's happening during this cycle. So knowing that there might be a lot of, I think we are also in the energies. Let me just pull up my notes from the full moon. I believe we are also in a T-square with, I don't have it right now, but anyway, there's a lot coming up. I'm sure we all feel it. There's a lot of energies coming up, bubbling up right now, and we're thinking about it. We're in our bed. I don't know, you might be having trouble sleeping at night. Really, thoughts are just going over and over in your head, waking you up early. You really can't control know what's going on and what's feeling, and all of these emotions are coming up, and you may not know where to go. Those insecurities right now, the anxiety is really, really, really like just in our head. And again, with the Spirit's really telling us to go with the flow, cleanse ourselves at this time, and really take this knowledge of what's bubbling up to the surface, because it's a new journey. This is telling us something. All of these emotions, being in the time that we are, in the season that it is during the eclipse, the high point of the eclipse season, this is a start of a journey. Like, this is information. We had a bunch of transits in Uranus, so that spark of change, of really wanting us to rebel against something, really wanting us to act new journey, a new journey of our thoughts and of our minds is coming to the forefront right now. What are you getting from these two energies that are
it
popping up?
Almost seems like this duality of both. It's kind of like,
What's
no,
coming
it's
up for
okay.
some of Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's like, if other people want to share too, it's been nice to read through the comments to expand even our conversation. It almost kind of reminds me of that like duality of like knives, of that they can be um they can be like piercing and like kind of like making you doubt yourself, but then it's also like they might also be coming to like cut off things too that don't serve you. I never thought about it in that way until you asked me, but that it's almost like the and also this time too, like we're transitioning to like wood, from like water to wood in spring. And so a lot of that transition to like a more yang time is also like breeding a lot of things in relationship to changes in sleep, disruption, and even like planetary alignments. But how like sometimes like those like intrusive thoughts or other things, um, even though they can be very difficult and challenging. I don't want to like say that they're not. And at the same time, it's like knowing like where they're coming from, and if they are you, or if they're from other things that have been kind of like absorbed into you, and knowing that like if they're like piercing you with a knife, that you can also use a knife to cut it off, like metaphorically too, of like, and that may take like, might not just be like one time, it might be many times, but knowing that like if somebody or something or an energy is doing that, that we also can like do that too. So it's like that duality of like one's coming from one side and we're coming from another, and we can also have a different power through that.
Absolutely. That transition from all of these knives just like going through your head, you know, transitioning through your head. And like you said, it could be yours, it could not be yours. Our sis said the red makes her think of the root chakra. You know, the root chakra is your safety, your security, all of that, you know, being unraveled. Is it yours? Is it your foundation? Is it your coming from your line, your lineage? You know, root chakra is connected to your ancestors, your DNA. You know, that I see energy. So is it yours? Is it, where is it coming from? But like you said, really taking that machete, that knife in your head and cutting the cord and saying, okay, I'm stepping up. I'm taking power. This is going to be me. This is where I'm going from here. I'm starting a new journey. I'm cutting those karmic ties. I'm cutting all of that and starting a new, you know, journey during this time. And at the bottom of the deck was the star. And it's such a beautiful energy because the star is that moment of realization in the traditional writer. And she's got water right here. She's transferring water, right? And that's glow. Oh, that's beautiful. This is the glow. So in Haiti, this is how water comes. These are like our water bottles. It's little water. So no matter how the waters, how you navigate the waters, whether it's traditionally, you know, being in a lake, you know, going to the ocean, is that how you cleanse? Is that how you cleanse your mind, body, and spirit? Using those waters as time for that new hope, for that new inspiration to come out, emerge, for that shining star to really give you some insights of how to cut and where to go from here. And when you're starting off that journey, okay, we've cut that ties and now we're starting a new journey. We're beginning. There's hope. There's new. That's the energy of the star. That's the energy of the star. What are you getting with that card? And I'll also read the deck and from this.
Beautiful.
I love
the image is really beautiful because it almost feels like the star is above and she's like bowing to the water. So it feels very sacred. Like the stars above and like the water below, and honoring both. Like, and she's in the middle, right there in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's exactly honoring the water. Yes, I see that for sure. For sure. And we've seen the water flow up in such sacred times during this reading when we're pushing through the insecurity, when we're cleansing our mind, body, and spirit, like that water energy. And we're seeing that red energy when we're, you know, really, we got to take action. We got to take action on our heart's desire. That's beautiful. Okay, star, hope and inspiration. Hope, guiding star, in the light, humans, nature, in harmony, hope, faith, inspiration, self-knowledge, which I love. Looking at the stars, y'all, looking at the stars for that self-knowledge. Self-confidence, charisma, Leo, clear vision, vitality, optimism, love, deep insight, wisdom, and wealth. Woo! That's beautiful. In the shadow, bigotry, fear, doubt, destruction, harmony, fickleness, resignation, which is all stuff that the society really tries to put us in, really tries to, isolate us from and connect us from and detach us from, is those waters of the soul. The stars in the sky are opportunities in life. The harder you look, the more there are. Hope is your guiding star. Follow it confidently into the future. Gain trust and insight in the higher order. Your life is under a lucky star. How beautiful. We're navigating all of this. All of this is coming up to the surface for us to cut out and for us to begin a new journey, for us to release. Take a spiritual bath if you need to. Cleanse your mind, body, and spirit, and know that your life is always being by a good guiding star. You can always connect to that water. You can always look around you and see the different hopes, see the different inspiration. We're always being guided. We're always being guided. Look to the heaven, look to our roots, look to the ancestors, look to the planets, look to the signs. They're out here if you pay attention, because why? We are always being guided. It's coming up for you.
No, it's interesting when we finished with the star, because today too, in East Asian metaphysics, yesterday was the last day of the tiger year, and today we begin the year of the rabbit officially. From what I learned from Dr. Tamsin Lee of Elemental Archetypes, is that also the rabbit is like one of 4 like peach blossom luck animals, and how this year there'll be a lot of like good, like auspicious energy for most animal signs. And so it was just reminding me of that, of the this transition of now we've transitioned from the year of the water yang tiger to the year of the water yin rabbit today.
Can you explain what is water yin rabbit? Can you explain that? What is the rabbit? When you say, and then we've heard the rabbit, but when you say water yin rabbit, and speaking of which, I got a jade plant and I got my Chinese New Year envelope on there. So when you say that, can you explain what that means?
East Asian metaphysics, and I think there's so much to it, but each year in the zodiac, there's always going to be 12, there will be 12 animals, at least in the Chinese zodiac. In different zodiacs, there's sometimes different animals based on different mythologies and stuff. But in the Chinese zodiac, there's 12 animals. And so each year is ruled by a different animal. So then there's 12 cycles. But then each year is ruled by yin or yang. And so that'll change every other year. So last year was a yang year.
So every other year is ruled by yin or yang? So it'll be either
more yang energy or yin energy. And then every 2 years, it changes elements. So last year was water, yang, and then tiger. And then this year is water, yin, rabbit. And then next year will be, I think, wood, yang, dragon. So so it'll switch, but then it goes, that appears, like all of those segments appear once every 60 years. So because it changes, you change elements and you change.
Yes.
There's a lot of math.
I wonder what happened. I'm sure. Thank you for explaining that. I wonder what happened the last water yin rabbit.
It was like, if you look back 12 years ago, then you can,
12 years.
Or, I mean, you could look back 60 years ago to see but if you're looking for like the year of the rabbit, then you can go back 12 years of like how you felt during the year of the rabbit. It would be a different element, but you're right. It would be, what happened 60 years ago, and you could look in the news and see just like articles of things that happened, which actually is really interesting to see different things. The stars.
They're guiding us for sure. Okay, so leaving y'all with a high vibe moment. Y'all been with us for a minute, so leaving y'all on a high vibe. So the first card that popped up is low vibe. things that lower your vibration. And it was right over that, and that Nine of Swords energy, right over that. Things that lower your vibration: judgment, criticism, worry, self-judgment, being unkind. Pay attention to what you're saying. Focus on things that are happening around you. Nobody is perfect. Be gentle with yourself and stop and try saying it in a positive, hopeful way. So be gentle with yourself and turn those, low vibe moments into positive and hopeful ways if you can. Maybe you need to go to the water